Hi, welcome back into Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears, episode 32. Pretty amazing that we are at that point. I'm Catherine. Jennifer's here as well. Thank you so much for joining us live or watching us at another time, as well as we catch up on all things Disney and Universal news, as well as answering your questions and talking about ways that we can help you plan the most magical trip. So we are agents with Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travel, and have the privilege of planning magical vacations and special vacations for our clients all over. So thank you for joining us, for watching us. If you are new to watching us, we appreciate you hitting that like button, hitting the subscribe button so you get notified anytime that we go live. It also allows us to do more of what we like to do as well.
Yeah. And if you've got any questions at all right now while we're live, please feel free to ask in the chat or even just to say hi. It's great to know that you're here. And so let us know if there are certain things that you are interested in chatting about. We've got a pretty short agenda, and then we can talk a little bit about, our recent experiences, what we're seeing. But I always like to, check to see what might be happening in the chat and what questions we get in the chat. So let us know. And also just to reiterate, this fall, starting in October, I'm giving away a $25 gift card to one lucky winner every month, based on the folks who interact either on our Facebook group, our Wizarding Wands Mickey Ears Facebook group, or in the YouTube chat here. Or, if you share any of our information, we can take a look at that and see that too. But it's specifically, we're looking at Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Facebook group interaction as far as responses or posts, or again, responses or posts in our Facebook page and in these chats. So Stephanie, I know you said that you were watching. So
yes, thank you so much. I'm just laughing because I'm still not mastering the open shot of what I look like. YouTube grabs as an expression, usually pretty generous to Jennifer. Me, it is full action. If you know me, that is kind of how it is. I was flying in here for my daughter's band concert. Jennifer was flying in. So we are also busy moms amid doing all of this. So so it's been, I don't know about the rest of you. First of all, I can't believe it's December. I will just say
oh my gosh.
And
it's, I mail a lot of gifts, and I have the folks who have already celebrated Hanukkah. Whew, more power to you. You've got the rest of the month.
We talked about this a few weeks ago. I just got my Christmas tree up Saturday. We put up a real tree. So that is my cap. It's really bad an excuse. But yours was up. Was it up before Thanksgiving?
It was up before Thanksgiving. We haven't used a real tree in years. We normally travel. And so if we're traveling over Thanksgiving, we like to have things up before we go. So when we get home, we can do laundry, get used to everyday life and have already been decorated. But we put the tree up, but didn't decorate it until after Thanksgiving. So, and we have a Disney tree up in our bedroom. It is never undecorated. It's a pencil tree. And so we just carry the whole thing down into the basement and put it in storage and bring it right back up every year. So it's nice to be decorated. I love the lights at this very dark time of year. I'm in Minnesota, and we've been very fortunate to have an amazing fall, but we finally gotten some, single digit weather, some snowfall, and I don't know about you, but all I can do is think about warm weather travel. So I'm trying to figure out, do I need an extra trip in the winter?
If you are new to watching us or haven't watched us in a while, Jennifer always has a trip. And the joke is, if she doesn't have one within about 2 weeks, she'll talk about having one. So I do not get to travel as much as her to Disney and Universal destinations. I will say I am fortunate that I get to travel. But that's the joke is, and Stephanie said tomorrow is the concert for our daughter. Yeah, because let's jam some band concerts in to this.
I know. My oldest was involved in tech for the school play, which was supposed to be the week before Thanksgiving, but COVID exposures and things like that, they pushed it to last weekend. And so she was busy. They did tech week again, and I remember doing plays in high school and having to do tech week more than once. And then to do all of that prep, they did the shows and they were great. And so she did that last week. So we are I think we're in a slower pace for
You better
school
knock on
activities.
wood.
I know.
I
through
know.
through Christmas, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, 'tis the season for
I know. It's
all the
festive. I mean, I
busy.
wore red today. We had a concert at a meeting I was at noon, and then I knew I was at my daughter's concert. So yes, no, it's very fun. It's just a little crazy. So yes.
As it is
But
every year.
as it is every year. So yeah, so we're here chatting all things again, Disney and Universal. One question we get quite often is how long do the decorations stay up at the parks? Because maybe you're not traveling until early January. And if you're lucky and you're traveling right after the beginning of the new year, you will still see some decor. So that is a nice bonus as well.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, Disney World, typically the first full weekend after New Year's will be the marathon weekend. And they tend to leave, so the park decorations up through the marathon.
Mhm.
Marathon's on Sunday of the weekend after New Year's, the full weekend after New Year's. And so I'm not
Right.
exactly sure what that date is this year. I want to say the 10th, the 9th. And then
Okay.
after that, starting on the 10th, then most of those decorations will start to come down, but they may already start with some of the resort decorations shortly after New Year's. So you just
Yeah.
never know. And then, of course,
Right.
Universal keeps them up a little bit into January as well. And then things tend to come down pretty quickly when they
Mhm.
do.
I mean, which is totally how I roll here at my house. I mean, if there is
Do
so much, I
you?
don't know the rest of it, there is so much work putting up decorations that it stays up till mid-January at
I,
least.
always look at the Feast of the Epiphany,
That's we go by the Epiphany as
right?
well. I
And
will, that's
then
yeah.
maybe give it another week or two.
Yeah, it's just as you know, it's one thing getting it out and that's exciting, but putting it all away and then life is just crazy. That's what it was
Right.
too. I mean,
The
I was
nice thing
taking
is then the
yeah,
days get longer. So after December
true,
21st, at least we start to get a little bit longer days. So I don't
right.
know about you, the dark at night already has become a bit much. And so
Oh,
it's
I
nice.
know.
I just hibernate. I do a lot of hibernating. I
We
just
do a
want to go
lot
to
of
bed at 5.
daydreaming. Yeah, a
Right.
lot of planning for clients or thinking about places we'd like
Oh,
to go as
yeah.
well. So that's exciting. Before we kind of dive into some news and some things we wanted to review, as well as our recent trips, we just want to remind we're still doing that gift card giveaway through the end of the year. So for anyone just like Stephanie who's commenting, even just pop on and tell us where you're watching from. First time viewer, we'll take that as well, or any questions or things like that, either here during while we're live or you're rewatching it back or in our Facebook group, Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears, a guide to all things Disney and Universal. We love hearing about what is happening and questions you have. I know I had a client recently share about her trip, and she was funny. So, hi to Abby. She said, it took me 2 months to write this, which I totally get. You're back and
Right.
getting your pictures out, but I think everyone enjoys seeing pictures from the trip. What tips for you? Again, that's why we're here as a guide, but we love everyone chiming in because what might work for one family definitely might not work for another. So that's a great resource as well, whether you've been to Disney and Universal 20 times or this is your first trip. So we will do that drawing at the end of December. We're going to be live for the next maybe week or two, and then we'll take a break. Everyone's busy. We'll take a break with our families and then come back to you in January as well. So,
Right.
but we will have that giveaway. We'll
And if you didn't catch our chat last week, it was chock full of information.
True.
There were so many announcements with Disney World, Disneyland, from the D23 convention, and then there was some Universal information as well. And so, if you haven't, I recommend taking a look at that. Just listening to some of that information because there's quite a bit there. If you were thinking about Disney World or Disneyland or even Universal, what to expect over the coming months and even over the coming year. Lots of
Right.
announcements about what's coming back or what is new as far
Yeah.
as things like Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot. So
Right. Well, and I think
there's
the
things to look
Disney and
forward to.
Universal gods were kind to us today because usually there's so much news on a Tuesday. We can't even get it all synthesized. So,
Right, we can't even chat because
yeah.
we're just going through the news and then that's the hour. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, but we did get a piece of news yesterday. Disneyland finally announced Genie Plus coming to Disneyland. So
Always late and always
right,
like, and we're starting it tomorrow kind of thing.
right.
Like never get ready. No, Thursday we'll start. So,
Exactly. The
Literally.
good news, though, I mean, reading through the information, the good news for folks who are familiar with Disneyland or are regular Disneyland visitors is it looks like Genie Plus is pretty much almost exactly what MaxPass was. And so if you are familiar with MaxPass at Disneyland and how that worked with fast passes, it's almost Genie Plus at Disneyland is almost entirely MaxPass rebranded to Genie Plus.
Right.
Really, the big difference to me is the individual Lightning Lane purchase options. But otherwise, I liked MaxPass at Disneyland. I don't know what it'll look like there. I know that there have been some growing pains at Disney World, but Genie Plus is a completely different type of service at Disney World. But at Disneyland, I don't know if it's because a lot of the folks are annual pass holders, a lot of the folks are locals and they're used to the parks. But MaxPass, I think, was really easy to operate as far as, selecting the next attraction. So it used to be FastPass Plus, now it's Lightning Lanes.
Right.
Really, I think you can, interchange that terminology for Disneyland. But yeah, I think the big piece, which is a little hard to swallow, but we knew was coming, is that some popular attractions won't be included in Genie Plus. They will be separate purchases. One of those near and dear to my heart is Radiator Springs Racers. I just love that ride. And so that in California Adventure Park is going to be an individual Lightning Lane purchase. So it's not included in Genie Plus. It's an extra purchase, or you can always use the standby lines. And then I think, not surprisingly, the Spider-Man ride in Avengers Campus in Disney California Adventure Park also is an individual Lightning Lane purchase, as is Rise of the Resistance in Disneyland. But otherwise, MaxPass, Genie Plus, it's about the same.
Well, and I know again, that may seem like, if you don't know the Disneyland, Disney World, Universal verbiage, you might say, what is this? We're here to help with that as well. But MaxPass existed for a long time and people really enjoyed it. So the fact that then there's been nothing and then Disney World had it, and typically this is very typical that it'll roll out in one park until it comes to something else. And so we're glad it's coming. We heard we were hoping. I was very surprised. I think we had some other agents that were actually, I say, if you manifest it, right? Didn't they ask on the page on Tuesday and then it came out? I was like, we just need to keep asking. And I know, Stephanie mentioned about the dining packages as well.
Keep asking.
Please, we're
going to speak that into existence.
Believe me, we are waiting. So again, dining packages were something that was an option and made life easier, and people use them, and that went away when the parks reopened in 2020. So we are all still waiting for that. I mean, signs are looking good for that, as well as more restaurants continue to open, more character dining experiences, more options, more seating is being utilized in all the restaurants as well. I will say that when I was on my trip in November, and I definitely did not notice as much spacing as we had been seeing before. So that, again, is just another step in the direction of being able to, and I get it, Disney doesn't want to offer something if they can't fully utilize it as well. So getting in the right direction.
The tough part I've still noticed with dining plans is that a lot of the restaurants still don't have a lot of availability for larger parties, and larger parties meaning 6 or more.
Right.
And so I've really struggled with parties of 6 or more at some restaurants where, pretty much would have been a given that at least there'd be some availability. And so I think there's still some changes that, need to be made before they'll bring back a dining plan. But I almost feel like, why not bring back a portion? Why not bring back a quick service dining plan or something that we know that people are already utilizing regularly? I mean, people are already utilizing, quick service dining quite a bit. Why not bring that back? Or, a truncated version thereof? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they've got reasons for that, but I'm really hoping in the new year. I mean, Disney has indicated that they intend to. So it's really just a matter of time there.
And what that will look like. And also, Genie Disney Genie is newer, Genie Plus. I think they just want to don't want to roll too many things out at once, which is for our sanity as well, I guess, but that's part of it. But yes, I think we're hoping, and it'll be interesting to see what those look like as well.
Yeah.
Will they change? Will they be the same?
I know. Before we move too far beyond, the Genie Plus at Disneyland, I did want to be sure to mention that, as we know, and we've talked about, Genie Plus at Disney World in Florida, it's $15 per day. You can add it starting after midnight any day, and then you can start picking your attractions at 7 a.m. Eastern time. In California, some of the differences there, which again mirror exactly what MaxPass was that if you don't purchase it already attached to your tickets, you can purchase it after you enter the parks. So you don't purchase it any earlier, but just like before with MaxPass, you could have purchased that in advance and have it attached to your tickets, or after you enter the parks. You can't access anything until you enter the parks. But then the other major part is that it's a little bit more expensive. It's an extra $5 per day. So it's $20 per person at Disneyland Park, but it includes all of your PhotoPass pictures from that day. I think that's huge.
I think that's a reason to get it right there. I mean, and that's how it used. I mean, that I remember people, I have clients who would say, so are they still doing that? That was so great. Or they said that was the reason we got it, because we wanted the pictures. I'm like, I know.
So it's there. I mean, starting tomorrow, it's back.
Right.
Folks can purchase it. Now, I mean, we've been told that we can't really add it to packages that have been around for a while. So if someone's booked their package, a couple of weeks ago or whatever, we're not able to add it, but you're still able to add it, physically in the park. As soon as you scan in, you can add Genie Plus. You're able to start using it right then. But going forward, starting tomorrow, we'll be able to add it to any new Disneyland packages that people book. So if you know you're going to want it for every day, you can go ahead and add it to your package, and then you automatically have it. But then you still wouldn't be able to access your first Lightning Lane, formerly known as FastPass Plus, attraction until you scanned into the park, and then you pick them one at a time there. So
right. So yeah, definitely. Again, you don't really have to worry too much about the differences unless you've visited previously or you're visiting both, because they are a little different in that sense. But it's very, if you did visit in previous iterations, it's really similar to that, which is nice too.
Right. And it's important for folks to know if they're going between the two parks. So if they're used to visiting Disney World and then they want to take a visit to Disneyland, just know that things are different. It's not exactly the same, and vice versa. If you're used to Disneyland, Disney World's a completely different animal. And I feel like I've been talking to more people lately who are used to one park, but really want to give the other one a try, which is great. But I mean, it's a different set of expectations in both directions.
Right.
So
no, that's so true. Sorry, this is typical. I didn't have my computer fully charged, so I had to wait for one of my children to read one of my texts to come assist me. So
I know, and Stephanie, thanks for your comment about having a snack package. I think you're right. Wouldn't it be nice if the parks could have even just a snack package, something where, like, I knew my kids could just scan their magic bands and grab that without saying, yep, charge whatever you want. And then
you find out later. Absolutely.
What that ends up being. Yeah, it'd be really nice if they could just scan their magic band or their key to the world card. And then go ahead and access some of those.
And we know it helps people in planning too, whether that's, adding Genie Plus in advance, that cost is already built in, or when we have the dining packages returned, that is really giving you a more accurate number on what you're planning, especially if this is a first time trip or whatever it might be. We know that's hard for us to ballpark that for you sometimes. So that gives you an idea. So if you're thinking about Genie Plus, we're both saying, do that at the beginning. You have that on there. You don't have to worry about it, because most likely you're going to end up adding it each day. You're going to say, oh, we definitely want it. There's cases where that's not applicable necessarily, depending on what you're doing or the parks, but it is nice that it's just already wrapped in. It's one less thing to worry about, which is really
I know.
nice.
I did have someone say, we don't think that we're going to be quite into the rides in this park or
Right.
that park. We know we're going for the shows and the food and things like that. And so in that
Right.
case, I said, I don't know if Genie Plus is going to be a good use of your money
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
But especially if you're going for the rides,
Right.
especially the larger rides, it's something to strongly consider.
Absolutely. And so we usually mention this too. We have a great YouTube channel. The reason we exist is really to make your trips better. So we work hard to provide videos and contents and how-tos from what is my Disney experience? What are you talking about? How do I make a park pass reservation? We have videos of resort rooms and properties to give you an idea as well, but virtual queues are something that are not going away as well. So we have a great one for Remy's and Epcot. So check that out well before your trip, and hopefully that will help you kind of score a place. I was successful with it. We know lots of people that are, due to Jennifer's excellent handiwork in making that, that value. But again, these tips and tricks are here to really make your trip the best it could be. One thing I'll note too about Genie Plus, for military tickets for 2022, that there is an option to purchase those tickets with Genie Plus added. Otherwise, right now, I have clients that are going every Saturday, great military couple. That was obviously not an option when they purchased their tickets. That wasn't available in 2021. They'll have to add it once they get there, or doing it day by day, again, depending on what they want to do as well. But the fact that that's an option for 2022 is great as well. We love booking military families. We always say thank you for your service, but there's great options for that as well. So if you have questions, let us know that too.
Yeah. And I think the important part about folks who have participated in the military, Disney has got some very strict parameters on what qualifies for those tickets. And so it's, specifically folks who are currently, active or, currently involved in a position with the military, or who are fully retired military. And, we love our veterans. There isn't as much for veterans who aren't fully retired or who aren't, fully active right now in their position. And so there's a gray area in between, but we do have details on the types of IDs that you're expected to have. If you are not able to go on base and shop or take advantage of some of the opportunities on base, then that is kind of our flag to say, I'm not sure if you'd be able to access what Disney has available. So
Right.
just something to
Right.
keep in mind with that
Absolutely.
too. Lots of
Yeah,
questions there.
that's a great point. Mhm.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you. Have you had folks attending the Very Merry After Hours party, or have you heard back from anyone on that who's gone?
Yeah, it's been a little while, I would say, actually, but yes, and they were first timers. So I think was actually probably better because they didn't have that baseline like you and I have, or a lot of
Hmm.
people have. And so they were really excited. I tried to prep them as much as I could,
Yeah.
but they loved it. And
Awesome.
it was more of a splurge for them, in
Right.
the
Oh,
sense
yeah.
of, which it absolutely is, but this is our family trip. We don't know when we'll get back here. We want to do this, and just loved it all. Did not seem phased by, some of the things we're reading about it being a little busier or things
Hmm.
like that. I think, again, when they purchased the tickets, we didn't know that there would be a parade or what
Right. Or fireworks.
fire,
Right.
like even those things, we had really said, okay, this is what you're purchasing.
Hmm.
It's going to be kind of, scaled down, I guess is the best way, again, in previous iterations. But we're really happy with the wait times and the treats and the whole experience. I mean, how can you not? Was it snowing on Main Street? But
I
yeah, we're
know.
really thrilled with it, which of course makes my travel planner heart happy
I
too. But
know. I know.
because you just never know. You never know. It's not everyone's cup of tea.
Right.
But I think being prepared and going in, knowing all those things were happening. And actually, I think they felt like, oh, we didn't even get to as much as we thought we would because of the parade or the extra
Hmm.
things happening. So that's
Right.
a good thing. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
you?
Well, I find it interesting that I'm only hearing hot or cold responses. I
That's
mean,
true.
mostly hot. Mostly people have been loving it.
Right.
I've had a few folks who are like, "Nah, it was really expensive for what it was. I
Yeah.
was expecting something different." But usually there's something in the middle. Like It was fine. I wish it would have started earlier, or I love the cat. Or, something along those lines, but I feel like I'm only hearing hot or cold, but nothing in between. And so I can't even
That's true.
gauge, what was the thing? But it seems like the folks who went in expecting it to be Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party were a little thrown off, but I
Yes.
can't see, like, I'm trying to figure out exactly how it was different because it's an after hours.
Right.
And so you still have the parade and the special fireworks. It's starting later,
Hmm.
only by a few hours, but then I don't know. I mean, it seems like all of the elements were there, and then
Hmm.
there were all of the, included sodas and bottles of water and popcorn and cookies and,
Right.
novelties. And so I'm wondering,
Hmm.
what it is that folks are still missing from Mickey's Very Merry
No, you're
Christmas
right.
Party.
No, I think that's like yeah, you read it out there and you're so right. It's hot or cold. I don't know. I don't know if it was the thought that it would really be very few people and that has changed it a little,
Mhm.
or it was just the true kind of diehards who had a specific thought in mind and that wasn't quite what unfolded. But
Yeah. But
I
I
have
mean, I've had
another,
plenty of diehards who are like, this was the highlight of our trip. I'm
yes,
so glad we did it. We were on the fence. It was my favorite day.
yes,
So I just don't even know. I don't
I
even know how to
know.
gauge what it was.
Right, right. No, I'm not sure. And I don't know if that is just the general, some people have feelings about their Disney and Universal trip in the same way. Um, I do wonder too if it's people who maybe had already done a full day and then you go
Mm.
to a party because that's a
That
long
goes
day.
until 1 or so in the
Yeah,
morning to me. And then you wait on your transportation home and you're
right. I
exhausted.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Many
love the
different things.
Christmas part, whatever iteration it is. So I mean
Right.
I'm pretty biased in that way. But honestly, I thought what a perk that parades and fireworks and things came. I mean, who doesn't love a parade? But
And
that
special fireworks. I
I
love it.
know that came back as a bonus. I thought, oh gosh, how can you? And
Right.
again, yeah, it's just hard to know. I also don't know if it's just the kind of the state of the world right now. I don't know about you. I feel like people just have shorter patient, like more less patience or shorter fuses. If that's part of it, yeah, I'm
It
not
could
really sure.
be.
So,
I know it's just not Christmas time to me without the toy soldiers. And so the
I
fact that they've got the
know,
toy soldiers in the
I
parade, it's sort
know.
of like, at Halloween. I love the grave diggers in the parade.
Uh,
They're my favorite.
they are,
With
yeah.
the
That I,
shovels and
oh gosh, yeah. I'm definitely
there's
more
just,
partial to Christmas, but
yeah. I like both. I
yeah,
think I might be more partial to Halloween,
yeah.
but I love both. So just to know that that's back and the fireworks are back and short lines for rides and all of those pieces. So
Yeah, so these experiences are available, came back this year. That is something that is an additional ticket purchase that, something if you're planning even a year out, there will be parties. And we joke, the Halloween, who knows what they'll be called? We'll just say gatherings, after hours
mhm.
experiences started in August. So if you decorate for Halloween in August for your people, we can help you do that. Universal has incredible Halloween parties as well. But if that's something that is of interest, let us know. We're happy to kind of chat about that and where that could fit into your trip as well. But it is a great addition, or even to do something really special as part of your trip. Maybe you've been a lot of times and that's been something you haven't done. I've had clients like that who said, okay, our
Yeah.
kids are older. We really think we could take advantage of it. Because again, it is late. You have to know, I mean, it could be adults and you say, that's a late gathering. So
I
it just
know.
depends.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and I find one of the things that both Disney and Universal are starting to learn is that people love special events.
They do.
So, I mean, Disney's really capitalized on using Epcot for festivals, and that's what it is. And almost all year round, I mean, it's Festival of the Arts coming up here soon, which I love.
Yeah, that is
Still
one of your
trying to
favorites.
see if there's a way I can get there, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, International Festival of the Arts is now my favorite, but I mean, and then there's Flower and Garden Festival, there's Food and Wine. Right now it's International Festival of the Holidays. So, Epcot's got the corner on the market. And
Right.
then, Universal Studios has their Christmas festival right now, and then they'll be starting Mardi Gras, which will go for a long time.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
their Mardi Gras celebration is fantastic. So it's definitely worth,
Right.
being a part of that at Universal. And I mean, I only see that expanding. Universal's done a significant amount of work, changing even Mardi Gras into like a carnival type of thing,
They're
and then
smart.
bringing back carnival.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so people love their festivals. And so I mean, I think the parks are really capitalizing on that to give folks something just a little bit different to come back, more than once or twice a year.
Absolutely. And I think, again, what some of the great thing about festivals like that are special, they're just part of what you're experiencing. You obviously have the after hours and those special things, but it just adds a layer, is what I would say. I know when I was there in
Good point.
November and I went with 5 girlfriends, 3 of them had never been to Epcot, but those of us who have been there so many times. So you could go and just enjoy Epcot. I mean, you just could. But the fact that you have this whole additional big layer of food and drink and experiences is so neat and so
Mhm.
smart as well, obviously, because it does make you want to keep going again and eating a lot
Right.
typically. But
Yeah.
no, you're right. I think those are so if and that's a great thing to point out too. If you love Mardi Gras or you like Halloween or there's things you can visit certain times of the year and enjoy all that Disney has to offer with that flair to it. So
Mhm.
that is a really fun part of it as well. Or
Yeah, Disney
Universal.
or Universal. I mean, you've got
They
both
do
or
Mardi
both.
Gras.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very fun.
Yeah. Well, and we just live entertainment coming back, I think has been a really big thing for me this year. And so just
Mhm.
seeing the candlelight processional back at Epcot and then and at Disneyland, and then seeing the um, Disney Broadway on stage coming for the International Festival of the Arts. So they are um, singers and entertainers who've been part of Broadway, Disney productions on Broadway, come to Epcot and perform most evenings over the International Festival of the Arts. And I mean, that's again an added layer in the evenings if you're around in the park, something that you can take advantage of and really enjoy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
so if you're not traveling this year, you're thinking about 2022, definitely is not too early to start thinking about that as well. Again, we always say, it's a really nominal amount to get an entire vacation on hold, and you have a lot of time. Say if you could book with us tomorrow and you might not be traveling until next December, you have 30 days from travel to make that final payment. So a lot of time to do that. And also if dates need to change or things like that. So, but everyone who's had to postpone travel is now still, obviously some people are not ready to travel. We completely understand that. Some are starting to do that or have been or want to repeat once you get out there and do that. So
Oh,
we would
yeah.
love to help you plan accordingly. I know. It's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I still want to reiterate, and I know we've talked about this in past weeks, that, I have people contacting me now who are ready to travel next week. And they've been thinking about it for a long time, and they maybe reached out several months ago, and they're like, Jennifer, get me there next week. And
Right,
unfortunately, I can't. Things are
right,
booked. And,
right.
what I say to folks all of the time is, if you are thinking about it, if it's potentially on your radar, if you're not sure, put down a deposit. It's 100% refundable until your final payment date. And so a Disney $200 deposit, Disney World or Disneyland on a room and ticket package, you get that back if you cancel more than 30 days out. Universal Studios room and ticket packages, it's $50 per person. Again, you get that back before their final payment date, which is 45 days out. Disney Cruise Line, there are some limitations about whether you pay in full, but if you just pay a deposit because you want to have a certain stateroom on hold,
Right.
if you decide that that's not for you before your final payment date, you get all of your money back.
Mhm.
But if you decide at the last minute, it's going to be really meaningful for my family to travel right now,
Yeah.
it's been really hard,
hmm hmm Or just
so
absolutely. I think hard to find something and not many options, and you're paying a premium.
Right.
I mean, that's just kind of where it is right now. So, and we know some people decide, oh, I want to go. But if you just have that inkling, just go ahead and do that. We're happy to help you with that. And then you have it as an option. I know, I don't know my life from day to day. We're making plans for next fall for something special. We'll talk about at some point.
Right.
And that is crazy for me to think of something 11 months out. You smart people might be able to figure out what that might be. We're going to hope for the best.
Right.
Everything works out for that. But again, I have a lot of clients who've put it off or have had to change date, but we can even move those dates and know that. So once you have that locked in, we can move that to something else.
I know. And I'm the person who I'll book fake trips. If I think there's a chance I could do it, I will book it. I'll put it on hold. I've gotten more refunds than, I care to admit, but I just want to make sure I have that option out there. I have a hold on right now for a trip that I think I might want to take. And I just have to think about it over the next couple of days to see if it might
in
be
March?
possible. No. I wish.
I know. That's another one.
But yeah, I mean, there are just different things that I'm looking at throughout the year and looking at the kids' schedules. And that's another thing I hear from a lot of folks is, but we don't have the school schedule yet. Well, it doesn't hurt to put a hold on. And then if you have to modify dates later, provided there's availability, you're fine. But if there's not availability, if it ends up being the same week that everyone's off and all of the East Coast, which happens sometimes with winter breaks and in February, like you think that February is a slow month. That's not always a slow month. You have that availability. You have it at your first choice resort, especially for folks who are looking at values or moderates and, looking at more affordable options. Those tend to go first.
Yes. And I would also say if you you just don't even know where to start, further out is great because we can really price a lot of options and give you those. And that just gives you an idea. I mean, I can price those for you and give you a ballpark, but if it's not available, I can't book it for you.
Right.
So again, and I know we hear this a lot, like, how much will this cost? There's obviously a lot of variables. We're happy to work with you and try to find those options that will best fit your budget or your plan for this trip. But again, I know that is really common. I mean, I think probably, Jennifer, you're the same. I say 90%, probably higher, of my clients they have not been to Disney World since they were kids or teenagers, because that's how it is. And now they're going suddenly married with their kids. It's a, whole new world.
Yeah.
But it is different. So they, and when you're going as a kid, you're not paying attention to any of that.
Right.
Things have changed. And again, that's why there's so many options. That's why the theming is so great at Disney and Universal. Just depends what you're interested in or what room type works for you. So there's so many, and we know that's why we exist. It is
right.
We get a lot of people find us because they become overwhelmed. It is a rabbit hole. You don't know where to start. And that's why we're here to help you with that.
Right. I would say too, like I get a lot of folks who travel every couple of years, even every year, but they're like, I don't want to, you tell me when I need to do these things. You tell me what's different. You tell me what's available. I trust that you're going to reach out when I need to pay attention to this. And I don't want to have to worry about it until you email me.
Absolutely. And we're grateful for people who know a ton about Disney and Universal, but are willing to let us help them, or again, find that balance. I have a lot of clients who they're like, I'm taking care of dining. I will worry too much. I know what I want. Okay, but I'm here. Or from the clients who I don't know where to start. I don't have the time. That's the whole reason I want you to help me. So there's a happy medium in all of there, working in there together. So know that exists as well. We don't have to do everything that we
can. Or I want to do something completely different. I used to do this on every trip, and now I'm ready to try something else. What should I try? And that's fun too, because I try to do something different every trip. Like
you do.
I try so hard, but then, you've got your favorites. So it's hard.
Well, if you're traveling with children, I've been fortunate. I've been booking a lot of couples lately and some trips and, honeymoons, or even just a couples trip where maybe she's been, but he hasn't, which is so fun. You can experience different things. I mean, my girls trip, we definitely experienced a lot more things than we would with all of our tweens and teens in tow, certainly. But you do have those favorite things. And again, that's the advantage of us having that opportunity to travel to the parks and report back and tell you what we like, what's new, what you should check out, because there is so much changing. It is changing rapidly, even for us. So even if you're someone who follows blogs and things like that, there's a lot that if you're not on top of key dates or certain things, you can really miss out as well.
Yeah. And that's what Stephanie just said. That's what we like to do. We like to go, but we don't want to do the legwork. So
yes.
you do the legwork for us. We'll tell you what we want.
Absolutely. Oh, that's
happy
great.
to do it.
Yes, we are. We love doing that.
That's so fun too. And I mean, I have to admit, I live vicariously through everyone. I follow up. I ask them how their trips were, if they want to send me pictures or post them or whatever. I love that. I mean, I don't require it. I don't badger people, but man, if I could see your pictures and see how much fun you've had, that's incredible.
Absolutely.
To me too. So
yeah. Well, and I think that's what's so fun too, is seeing the photos or just hearing, oh, you made I mean, that's like the best thing we can hear is that, oh, it was a magical trip. And we learn things too. I mean, there's always little tips, or we obviously don't have little ones anymore. We lived it. You know, you hear me mention, we were pushing a double stroller and a single stroller in Magic Kingdom many a year. Yeah. I'm not doing that now. We're still on top of that. But again, things are changing, and I love hearing from clients what their favorite part of their trip was, because it is different for everyone. It's not the standard. It was the parade, or it was the fireworks. It could be my 3 children got along on this ride and it was just magical. I guess I'm talking about myself too. You know what I mean? If you have teens, you know. But I think I took like 6 different pictures on our last trip. They were just sitting in the front of It's a Small World together, happy. Like, it's moments like that, or, oh, they were having a little Mickey bar and it was melting, but it was like the best picture ever. You have pictures like that too. So,
absolutely.
I mean, it's all those, and that's what it is. It's the memories and it's the moments. And again, whether this is a one-time trip, there's a lot of our clients that are, they know they'll just do this one time. And we're fortunate. We have a lot of clients who get to go a lot of different times. And that's really fun too.
Right. And I got a lot of clients who went the first time, just like me, and thought this is one and done, I'm finished. And then they contact me a few months later and they're like, I need to do that again. What can I do again? Can I do it again?
I think that's remarkable.
What's availability, so that's so exciting to me, because I'm like, you're my people. You had so much fun that you didn't think you were going to go back, and you're going back. So
yeah, I always loved it. I will say that, like, in my mom, but we didn't go until later. I mean, we didn't go until I was in high school. I think I wasn't someone who went, like, we went when we were little. We just didn't. But my mom always loved it. So that's kind of how I fell in love with it and how that grew. But very common. Clients were like, my husband's never been. I'm like, yeah, guarantee he'll like it when you leave. And they do. And again, you're not going to be like us necessarily, and you're going all the time, but some do, and see the value, or see, oh, there's so much to do as well. So I think it's so funny that, you went like, oh, one time, and now you are all in.
Oh, we thought we really did think this was it. But the one thing that I've noticed is that, when people are in these vacation destinations, so if they're in Disney, they're in Universal, once you are there and you get it, you feel like, I don't know about you, I feel like it's my responsibility to be part of the magic. And we were looking back on, this is typically every other year for the past 10 years, we have traveled this week or the week before. And so I've been looking back on 10 years of memories.
You have.
But on that first trip, on the last day of the first trip, there were several young women who were probably no older than my kids are now, 12, 13, 14, who were dressed up in, princess dresses and enjoying the parks and just, sort of Disney bounding. And my oldest daughter at the time, who was 4 years old, they had gotten on Small World, and she noticed that there were all these princesses in front of her. And she was so excited. And she was like, Daddy, the princesses go on the rides too. And the girls heard her and they got on their boat on Small World, went around, enjoyed the ride, and they waited for her to get off. And she Like I still have tears when I think about it. But just looking back at the picture and knowing that those sweet girls waited for my daughter because she really saw the princesses going on Small World. But I feel like, it's my job that now to be part of that experience, however I can,
Yeah.
if it's being kind to someone, holding a door, just saying happy birthday to someone wearing a happy birthday button or
I was
happy
going to say that,
anniversary
or seeing a
all in
little
those ways.
girl. If you see a little girl, say, "Oh, you look beautiful." Like just those little
Yeah.
things you can kind of,
Right.
I mean, I think most of us say that, but
Right.
how often do you see a little girl dressed up like that you couldn't say it? So
I know. I
absolutely.
know.
Well, I think I
Cute.
talked about this previously. So I was on this trip, and kind of talking about those moments too. And there were 6 of us. And I said, we have 17 kids between us, between the 6 friends. And the characters we were at Epcot, characters are popping up more. The princesses were appearing. And I mean, we'd say it every time to our one friend, Heather, and she'd be like, where? And she has a daughter. So she's, taking the video. Our one friend, Laura, sees, and what's great now, and we've talked about this too, that they're out. It's just more accessible. You're not having to wait in the really incredible lines. I hope those things continue as much as they can. And Laura gets our picture. She turns around. I'm like, are you crying? And she was like, just wait a moment. I'm like, what? She's like, I was just thinking if I brought my niece here, she goes, like, they look like they should look. I'm like, I know. She goes, this is ridiculous. I'm like, it is not ridiculous. Like but it's that you're in that bubble and you can just, whether you're a grown woman or you're taking kids or your grandchildren. I love planning these multi-generational trips as
Same.
well. We were fortunate that my mom traveled with us for years and got to see the magic as well. At one point, my grandmother went. So it was my grandmother, my mom, me, and Jack was a 1-year-old. There's pictures of them at Disney. So there's those moments from that to 6 girlfriends sitting at dinner, crying, laughing because we're just having a great time and doing a wine tasting and doing all of, those kind of things. So it's the whole gamut of
Right.
being in that moment and just, I don't know, it just centers you again. It's kind of nice. So, and it's the Disney and Universal. There's just something about an escape, but we're both a little more, we'll tell you, that Disney magic and the customer service and the cast members and the just wanting to make each guest experience so important. So, and we know that's an investment. This is not an inexpensive venture. We know that. And that's why we're here really, is to kind of to help guide that. Or, for example, Stephanie's family who knows a lot but wants to add things, we can help that to someone who, again, maybe you've never been and you're an adult, and that's fine.
All right. Well, and I love travel all over the world, all different places. And, when I'm in other countries or other major cities, there's an incredible excitement there and planning and just knowing what to do when and what transportation to take. And then when I go to a place where I can be in the bubble. So when I am on a cruise, when I am at Universal, when I am at Disney, I show up and there are more things to do that I could possibly do. I love having all of the availability of everything. And knowing, I'm just going to have to pick and choose. I'll never
Right.
be bored though.
Right.
And
Right.
they'll take care, like I can get on transportation. It's going to take me where I'm going, or I can show up like on a cruise. I've got trivia or shows or, any number of things, or food.
Yeah, I know. Food
I
and
mean,
wine, beer,
you can
champagne.
make your decision in the moment or you can plan and either way you're going to have a great trip. But it's different than being in a city. It's different to me than going to like New York or Chicago or even Colorado or
Sure.
Barcelona or Paris. Like it's just a different level of planning and availability. And
I think you bring up a good point. We talk about that a lot of part of the reason we love Disney especially is because of that, the level of detail and the service. And we obviously talk mostly about Disney World and we do Disney Cruise Line and Disneyland, Alani in Hawaii. Jennifer mentions that a lot too. But there's Adventures by Disney as well. So if you again want to travel the world, there's places in the US as well. But just think of it, Mickey isn't going to show up on the trip, but it's that level of service and detail of showing up and everything is taken care
And it really is a full concierge experience. And I mean, you're paying for it. They are
Absolutely.
pretty pricey, but it's
Mhm.
every penny. They will take care of that experience for you. It's worth every penny.
Right.
And, the older I get, when I was younger and I could just really fly by the seat of my pants a little bit, or I had more time to
Yes.
plan and to,
These
whatever, that
darn
was a different
kids. Yeah.
world. Right. But now, I don't have as much time to do those things for me. I'm doing them for other people. We've got stuff going on with our family, and I am willing to pay a little bit more of a premium to say, take me on this escape. I know that you're going to do a great job taking care of me and my family, and I don't need to do all the planning. I can just show up.
Right.
And so that's glorious too. So there's a place for all of it.
Absolutely. So if that's something that's of interest, and we'll post something in the Facebook group because I don't think we've posted about that in a
We
while, but
don't. Yeah. Yeah.
and we should, because again, that's another one too. If you have Wanderlust, just to kind of look at I mean, again, go to Ireland. I mean, think of just a beautiful place you could go to, that again with that concierge level of service as well. And varying, obviously family friendly as well, all kinds of things, whether you want to be really active, or not. There's all the different variations. But if you're someone who just wants to show up and have it all taken care of, which most people do if they're heading overseas and want to have that experience, that's another option. So we'll post some information about that.
Yeah. Well, and they also have the short escapes that are built
Sure.
for, people going on cruises, or, for a short
Mhm.
escape before or after their cruises, but anyone can do them. And so if you want to go overseas and you don't necessarily want your entire trip to be planned for you, but you'd really like a 3-day, fully planned excursion of, a city, or, a
Mhm.
geographic area, and they have a short escape available, it's still a splurge, but maybe it's not the whole splurge for your whole trip. Maybe it's, this
Right.
period of time that you want them to show you around, this particular part of the country with VIP experiences everywhere, things that you couldn't necessarily even access on your own. I mean, it's
Right.
worth looking into those too. And then
Mhm.
that's a way to budget
Right.
around maybe not doing a whole 9 or 10 day, $12,000 per person event, but maybe doing
Right.
something that's, 2 or 3 days long.
Mhm.
Amazing concierge service, but to fit, into a trip that you're trying to make a little bit more affordable.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we're rounding out the hour. I think,
I
some
know.
things I've noticed is that, I'm seeing still some great deals for January, February cruises. So if folks want to cruise January, February, um, I just don't know if we're going to see pricing like that again.
I don't know how we could,
Right.
honestly. What's your countdown?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I've got Princess Half Marathon coming up
Oh, that's right. That's your next one. So,
first. Yeah. And that's just a really, really short weekend to make the races happen. So that's 80 days. 80 days. But then 116 until we're on the Disney
okay.
Magic again
But
with the whole
for
family.
those who don't know, or you might be new to watching us, one of us is a runner and one is not.
I try. I'm not really.
Jennifer,
I'm
yes,
not a
you are.
fast runner. I'm a runner. Um,
You've completed many a race running.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not quite sure
So,
how many, but like Run Disney has my heart because I'm a slow runner, and Run Disney, has the support, and, I don't know, for those of you who have run races, if you're a little bit slower, I don't know. I've run some local races. I feel like the support kind of runs out for the folks who are a little bit, further in the back of the pack. And, there are days when I'm running like a 14-minute per mile half marathon and I'm exhausted and wasn't well trained, and I'm the last person. And then I get to Disney and they still have all of the fuel stations available, and they still have people cheering you on, and you could be having a really rough day and still running the best you can that day, and the support is there and the energy is there, and your people are around you there. So I
right.
mean,
Well, and
I
we've
like Run
talked. If I was
Disney.
ever going to do a race, I mean, I probably could do one at Disney.
You could do a 5K in a second. You
I'm
should
tell-
sign up. I
I
mean,
mean,
they're
I don't know.
early. But
Can I get a head start? That'd be great. I'd have adrenaline. I'd probably have adrenaline and then have training. But Jennifer and her daughter are running, and that's so exciting. You're doing this together and training together.
yeah.
And how cold was it when you were out?
It was like 26 or something. I mean, it was chilly. It's only going to get colder is the hard part. But I have to tell you, as a parent of teenagers, this is the best thing I could have done because, right, I mean, we did 6.5 miles. So we were out for, hour, 20 minutes or so with, warm up and, we just talk the whole time. My 14-year-old and I talked for like an hour and a half. And I mean, that is precious time. That doesn't happen.
Oh, that's
very often. They're so busy. There's so much going on. And so, it's exciting that she wants to do it. And, it's really nice to have the time just to chat.
Right.
About
no, I think that'll be such good memories. And you as a family have done races and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But it's just we've the two of you doing it, so.
Yeah, we've done 5Ks as a family, but then she and I have done 10Ks and this is going to be her first half marathon. It's the first one she's old enough for. So
yeah,
we're making it happen.
Yeah. So if you're a runner and you want, or you have family members, you don't have to run. You can cheer people on. That is allowed. Or be there when they come back, I should say. There's lots of options for that too. So Run Disney is a whole program and we can help you with that.
And they do a nice job. And last week in March will be the springtime surprise races. And so that is going to be a 5K, a 10K, and a 10 miler, all with different themes. But the 5K is a night race in Hollywood. In Animal Kingdom Park. It's going to be an Expedition Everest race, and they haven't had something like that, I think, since 2014 or 15. So they're bringing back something I loved. I did it when it was a 5K and then a scavenger hunt, and so it ended up being more like a 10K at that point in time. But it was still, I mean, beautiful park to run through at night. Of course, it closes early enough, so it makes all the sense in the world to have it there. But then also to have a 10 miler too. You don't have a full half marathon. You could do a 10-mile race. And that I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Yeah.
So those countdowns are coming. And whenever we're in the parks or we're on a ship or wherever we are capturing content and, doing what we do on Tuesday nights is talk about what we learned and what we enjoyed and applying that all to how we can help you as well.
Yeah, and we've got some new. So I last Friday, we had a Flight of Passage video come up. We've got It's a Small World. I'm working. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll have some video from the Disney Magic cruise ship, and so we'll have some new cruise video. But we try to have something just about every Friday go live. So if you're looking for ride videos, if you're looking for room tours, walks around the resorts, walks around the parks. I've got a playlist that I put together with some, winter Christmas theme experiences in the parks. And so you can look at the Dapper Dans singing, Christmas music or the castle or, things like that. I tried to put that together for this time of year. So check out the YouTube channel and look at those playlists. And let us know, if there's something specific that you're looking for, I can add it to the list and try to put that together. So it's helpful to know what folks are looking for out there on YouTube, because I'd be happy to try to put a video together that's useful for what folks are looking for.
Yeah. Another fast hour.
Always, every week.
Always. This is nice. We actually got to talk a little bit more, not just news. So that was nice.
Yeah. And our days are nuts. And so it's really nice to come, together on a Tuesday night, have some conversation and chat with you and share, our experiences.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, again, if you are new, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, you can be notified of whenever we go live or we've got new videos posted, or please share with friends, families, coworkers who, who are interested in Disney or Universal, both the YouTube channel, but also the Wizarding Wands in Mickey Ears Facebook group. We've had lots of new folks joining in the past few weeks. So thank you so much for those of you who've been sharing that content. Anytime you have a question or you'd like to share a triumph or something that you've really enjoyed in the parks, please, go ahead and share that. We are really happy to celebrate with you. As much as we're here to help share information, the celebration is so much fun too for everybody. The memories, all of those pieces. I try not to go too overboard, but I know that I share some memories.
No, it's
Just
fun.
love it. It's
see.
fun.
Yeah,
It's fun.
absolutely.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And again, let us know if there's anything that we can do to help. And